Donald Trump wants everyone to believe that his recent trip to the Middle East was a major success, that every world leader sees him as a global peacemaker. But that's simply not true. Not only has there been no lasting peace, with Israel already breaking the ceasefire and Trump publicly talking about taking military action, the trip itself wasn't exactly the victory he's claiming it to be. It also hasn't distracted anyone from the fact that Donald Trump still can't navigate his way out of a government shutdown, something his communications team, including Carolyn Leavitt, has struggled to spin positively. In fact, it may be both of those failures. The underwhelming Middle East visit and the mishandled shutdown narrative. That led to Trump's strange on-camera comment about one of his own top communications officials. We'll take a look at that unusual clip in just a moment. But before we do, if you're enjoying the coverage, please take a second to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps support independent journalism and allows us to keep bringing you stories that matter. Now let's start with some important context about the shutdown, and specifically where Donald Trump has been directing U.S. funds even as large parts of the government remain closed. That includes a major deal with Argentina, which, as Rachel Maddow pointed out, raises serious questions about transparency and priorities.
I mean, while the U.S. government is shut down right now, it's one thing to have the president leaving the country and flying to other countries, as Trump did today. It's another thing to have the U.S. government funding another country's government while we are not funding ours. Nevertheless, Trump's Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, just sent $20 billion, just sent 20 billion U.S. taxpayer dollars to go fund the government of Argentina, to go bail out their currency for some reason. Argentina's currency has dropped 27% in value already this year, but we're buying $20 billion worth of it. Why is that? That doesn't seem like a good bet. Don't worry, it's just a loan. Right, think we're going to get that loan back? I don't know. The IMF has had to bail out Argentina 23 different times. Argentina owes the IMF more money than any other country on earth. The most recent IMF bailout was just in April, and even that wasn't enough to keep their economy and their peso from continuing to tank. But apparently now it's us. Scott Bessent, Trump's Treasury Secretary, nevertheless just gave Argentina $20 billion of your money to prop up the government of Argentina, even though we have almost no trade with them, and if their economy or their currency collapses, that would be sad for them, but it would likely have no effect on us. This is not something we're doing to protect ourselves. It is just a favor to them. Trump and Scott Bessent have given them $20 billion US dollars out of the U.S. Treasury, a $20 billion bailout that already appears, quite possibly, to be lost down a deep, dark well, because even after Trump gave them this $20 billion infusion within the last few days, CNBC reports today that markets today reacted in such a way that indicates that $20 billion might not be enough. Argentina might tank anyway. And that presumably best case means that we'll never get our $20 billion back. Worst case, it means they're going to keep giving them even more money that we'll never get back. Why, when our own government is shut down, are we giving another country $20 billion to keep their government going? When again, we have no links to their economy, their risk has no connection to risk in our country. Why are we doing that? I don't know. But there are at least two American billionaires who are very close to Trump Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. And these billionaires have made big bets on the health of Argentina's economy. So, you know, I don't know if you had any plans for that $20 billion. It's your money. But for these rich guy friends of Scott Bessent, including Scott Bessent's former mentor on Wall Street, they stand to make a lot of money if the U.S. taxpayer starts propping up that failing country. And they stand to lose a lot if we don't, and that country fails. So there goes $20 billion of your money to buy nearly worthless pesos in Buenos Aires while, Yellowstone shuts down and people who work for the TSA don't get paid and American hospitals are white-knuckling it through day 12 of a government shutdown with no end in sight.
Donald Trump and his spokesperson, Carolyn Leavitt, are trying to convince the public that undocumented immigrants are the reason healthcare and taxpayer resources are strained. But that narrative doesn't match the facts. Each year, undocumented workers collectively contribute over $100 billion in taxes that help fund essential programs like Medicare, Social Security, and unemployment insurance. Programs that, ironically, they're often unable to access. Yet, Carolyn Leavitt continues to repeat the talking points, framing it as if taxpayer dollars are being misused, while avoiding discussions about the real numbers or the broader economic context. It's a tough sell, especially when the administration is also sending $20 billion abroad under the banner of America First. And it seems even Donald Trump may be realizing how ineffective that message has become. During a recent exchange, he made a strange comment about Leavitt, jokingly asking whether he should let her go, followed by remarks that many observers found uncomfortable and inappropriate.
And I never failed in working it out like immediately. Is that right? How's Caroline doing? Is she doing good? Should Caroline be replaced?
No. That's up to you, sir.
It'll never happen.
Nobody wants to.
I say she does a great job.
Do you want to elaborate on
And those lips, they move like a machine gun, right?
Do you want to elaborate on the
It's hard to understand what exactly goes through Donald Trump's mind during moments like this. In the clip, you can even hear Carolyn Leavitt nervously saying, "Oh no, I don't think I should be fired," while Trump asks the crowd, "Should we let her go? Should we get rid of her?" It was awkward, uncomfortable, and frankly unprofessional. Instead of maintaining focus on policy or the serious challenges facing the country, Trump once again shifted attention to personal remarks that left many observers uneasy. It's not the first time he's made comments like that, and it raises real questions about his judgment and professionalism in settings that are supposed to be official. Leavitt, for her part, has been struggling to manage Trump's messaging, especially as his recent PR campaign hasn't landed the way they hoped. The missteps and strange moments during this trip have been largely overlooked by much of the mainstream media, which has been too focused on praising Trump as a so-called deal maker. But journalists like Rachel Maddow have pointed out the deeper issues that went underreported, particularly Trump's questionable interactions and possible conflicts of interest with foreign leaders, including the president of Egypt. These moments reveal how much chaos and confusion continue to define Trump's approach to diplomacy and leadership.
In Donald Trump's 2016 run for president against Hillary Clinton, one of the unexplained twists in that campaign was that Trump picked a foreign leader to call his favorite dictator during the campaign, which is not a typical thing that an American presidential candidate might do. You might think that the American people might not like that, but Trump went out on a limb and did that anyway. Before he was elected, during the campaign, he singled out the military strongman leader of Egypt as his favorite dictator. He actually showered him with all sorts of inexplicable praise. And I mean, it was inexplicable because, this is not something for which there's like a big domestic audience during a presidential campaign. Why do you want to vote for somebody for president who's praising who his favorite dictator is and why he likes this military strongman abroad? It was so weird. But he was really sort of insistent about it just a few weeks before Election Day, as Donald Trump's campaign was running out of money. And it really looked like he was going to lose to Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump, at the height of the 2016 presidential campaign, he took a one-on-one meeting with the president of Egypt. And he came out of that meeting and he called the president of Egypt a, quote, fantastic guy. He promised him that if Donald Trump, was elected president, the United States would be a, quote, loyal friend to Egypt. And then when Trump in fact, was elected, he very much made good on that. He brought the president of Egypt to be one of his first guests at the White House. Egypt, really? He showered him with totally unqualified praise. What's that about? Then he gave Egypt nearly $200 million that his own Trump-appointed State Department leadership opposed him giving. Then he gave them more than $1 billion after that. He just loved the president of Egypt. Couldn't do enough for the president of Egypt. Couldn't say why he loved him so much, but he just kept pouring it on.
Of course, there are major concerns about Donald Trump's financial dealings and his relationships with foreign governments. Time and again, it seems that anyone who praises him, donates to his campaign, or offers him business advantages ends up receiving favorable treatment. Meanwhile, the government remains shut down. Families are struggling with rising premiums, TSA workers aren't being paid, and military families are turning to food banks just to get by. And while all that is happening, the administration is reportedly sending $20 billion to Argentina, a country now selling soybeans to China that used to come from American farmers. Those same farmers are still waiting for relief, funded by tariff revenues that are making everyday products more expensive for American families. It's a lot to take in, and it raises real questions about priorities and leadership. What is happening to our country? What are we becoming under this kind of governance? That's exactly why the upcoming No King's Day protests on October 18th are so important. This is our chance to stand together, peacefully and powerfully, to remind this administration and the world that we believe in democracy, not rule by one person. If you can, please find a local protest near you. Whether you're in D.C., L.A., Chicago, New York, or anywhere else in the country, show up, be part of your community, and make your voice heard. And as always, if you want to support this work, you can hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.